Hello, resin collectors and people that might be interested in collecting 1/64 scale cars of the highest caliber. Although I'm not sure if this will be one of them. Anyways, in the box of this, it says 599 XX Program. It says Cars Lounge. I guess that might be the brand. There's around 400 of these in this red color, I assume. And then, yeah, not licensed. So if you have ethical problems with that, you should probably watch a different channel. So we're going to have a big rigid box here, which I feel is quite wasteful, you know, having to buy this when Hobby Japan and Pyro 64 don't make you buy this kind of box. It does have a nice little, you know, microfiber kind of thing to wipe this thing down. This I've never seen before. Well, I don't have to look up Wikipedia stuff. The length, blah, blah, blah. Let's just, where's this interesting stuff? It's a V12, 5 liters, no, 6 liters. Oh, that's probably per cylinder. Yeah. Okay, never mind. So it is 6 liters. 700 C... 700 CV, sorry. Rolling on 19-inch wheels and carbon ceramic brakes, which would be expected. There's a nice little sketch. I can't make out who drew that. MIS? I don't know that, but it's drawn in '09, so very cool. Oh, basic specs right there. Alright, so that's actually kind of cool, although I still kind of think I don't want to buy that. Alright, well, it's probably tape. Yes, there is. At least that tape isn't leaving like a bunch of residue. You know, this could have been opened before. I have a suspicion it was opened before, because that tape wasn't really fully sealed down. Gonna open it lengthwise. That's a really tight cover. Am I missing more tape maybe? Nope. It's just a good tight fit, but I wouldn't recommend lifting it by the cover because it might just fall to the floor. This is the official Ferrari website, so I thought it'd be a good place to compare some photos. There we are. Looks pretty good. Let's scroll down and see what else we got. So I was gonna read all the specs off this website, but I don't think I need to. That's some serious braking. I'm not sure if this is a street legal car or not. Maybe someone wants to comment on that. Nor do I know how much this thing cost originally. This might be one of those cars where you can only drive it at a racetrack and it can only be serviced by Ferrari. But I could be mistaken. That seems to be a racing club of some sort there. Is there any sort of rear view or side view? Oh, I guess I already did that. Initial impressions are pretty nice, but you know, by the time I go back and review this myself, I might be wrong. I'm gonna close that out. Let's get the camera down here so I can see what I'm doing. Get the dental pick. Oh well, let's start with the base. It's an acrylic base. They polish the edges. You can see right through to the other side. That's pretty impressive, really. It's really hard to, it takes time to polish acrylic. Although you can see here, a bunch of fine scratches. Again, this was a used model. I bought this off Aliexpress. So this model was displayed in a store most likely, and obviously scratched around moving on a cabinet or something, and then they just decided to sell it. So that's kind of weak, I think. You know, I feel like if you're gonna buy a new product, it should be brand new. Like, what if you want to give this away as a gift? That's embarrassing. You know, your recipient's gonna think you gave them something used. So, if I can remember who sold this to me, I'm gonna leave that in the comments section, because that's a bad practice. If it's in perfect shape, though, personally I don't really care so much, but you guys might. So this is number 253. You got a photo etched metal nameplate there, and then just some white acrylic, which is a good contrast for the red. I prefer it to be white than black, like a real piece of road. I'm going to start on the front wheel as usual. Well, that's a nicely molded wheel. That's very good. I'm going to zoom in. Focus. So you do have a little prancing horse. It's a little offset. It's not too bad. Center knockoff ribbing looks pretty good. The spokes are well done. I think they're 3D printed. You can see these striations. So I kind of complained about this in the fine model of the Le Mans car. Those are molded wheels. These are 3D printed wheels, so they don't have any extra flash. The tires are nicely rounded, and you can actually see like a carbon fiber graphic on the brake rotor, which is quite interesting. I've never seen that before. And then there's some sort of printing on the brake rotor, which is quite interesting. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I have a hard time thinking they would print something on a brake rotor, because wouldn't it just get ground away unless it's maybe literally molded into the surface? But then the letters would break off. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Please leave a comment if you know. It clearly has a three-dimensional brake caliper towards the door side. So all in all, looks pretty good. These things are scale models. They're not Hot Wheels. They're not going to roll, so please don't ask if it's going to roll. If you want something that rolls, don't watch my channel. Or just watch the Hot Wheels stuff. There's a different caliber of model here. They're not toys. Okay, the chin spoiler is very thin. You know, it's made of plastic, I assume. That's not die cast. I can't get that thin reliably. The prancing horse is a decal, and it's pretty nice as far as its definition goes, the crispness of it, but I can feel it. The decal's on the outside surface. Same with this 23, you can see the wrinkliness of it. Some sort of text in the bottom of the 3, I don't know. Maybe that's not text, but interesting. Alright, this vent in front of the rear wheel is nice. It looks like it could have a separate piece there, or it's just nicely molded. Hard to say, but that I can feel. Rear wheel, yeah, it's nice. 3D printed, very good. The door handle there looks pretty good, and as far as the definition goes, the panel gaps are nice and tight. Yeah, very good. This is a toothpick I'm holding, by the way. There's a little bit of air passing through here, so that's kind of nice. Unfortunately, there's no black paint down in there, although it is a very small vent. You can clearly see the mirror is a reflective sticker. It literally is a reflection. The side window is very interesting. It's actually open, which is kind of interesting. You can also see the decal, though, of this silver frame, right? So this is all just the wrinkly clearness of a decal, which is not attractive to look at. Alright, well, you got this funky wing, and that's a piece of photo etched metal being so thin. It's painted black, of course. This has an interesting little texture, like fake, well, not fake, just like the plastic of an interior of a car. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be on the real thing, if it's supposed to look like that or look like carbon. I'm sure it's made of carbon on the real car, but it doesn't actually show the weave, I don't know. Okay, let's go around to the front. There's a photo etched red toe loop there, passing air. The prancing horse is very nicely done, photo etched, I assume. The grille texture is very thin, very fine, very good. I don't know if it's painted or not, because there's a little bit of black sloppiness there, so maybe that is painted, but if it is, it's done pretty well. Or usually you kind of see separate inserts, but it looks good to me. The Ferrari badge, the sizing is okay, and it doesn't look like a giant tablet. It doesn't seem to be laid on quite flat, though. You don't want to pick at that, it'll fall off. And then this is nice. You got these shiny little hood pins. You can literally see the pin going through the circle. Again, those, I'm not sure if those are decals, because they look like they're on a blob of glue. This is clearly a decal, though. You know, you see how wrinkly it is, but these rings are not wrinkly. The headlight covers, yeah, they're smooth, clear plastic. And then there's like a projector light in there. Yeah, a separate piece of plastic, it looks like. I don't see any sort of turn signals inside this thing. Maybe, where else would they be, though? They're not out here. Oh, it's a race car. Maybe this is maybe the street car is a different front lower. I'm not sure. Can't remember. Alright, well, we got some black up in here. I don't know if that's paint or decals. Probably decals, because they're well defined. And they actually have 6 of these hood releases. So I guess to save weight, they took out the hinges and just have it held down by 6 pins. Interesting. So the wiper blade, it is very three-dimensional, but it's so thin, so I have to think that's 3D etched metal, photo etched metal. And then you can see the blade is literally perpendicular to the windscreen, so very impressive. And then this packaging plastic type of window, that's how thin it is, that a toothpick can bend it. But that allows you to see into the interior without any distortion. You can literally watch television through it. Okay, I'm going to continue with the outside. Yeah, different texture up here. Well, it's like a gunmetal paint color. And actually, I'm going to look at this outside of my phone screen. Yeah, I think this is gunmetal as well. So this, and this are all gunmetal paint. Okay. The rear window, yeah, it looks pretty good. The black cut of all the windows seems to be on the inside surface. It's not on this outer surface. Focus. Well, that's interesting. These taillights, they actually have like a photo etched metal inserted grill or something to maybe represent the backup lights. I can feel those tiny dots, so that's kind of nice. But I'm pretty sure the actual round part is translucent plastic. I feel like there's light bouncing around in there. This more hold down pins, only 2 for the trunk though. And then there's a black graphic around this wing. It's very smooth though. It doesn't look like a decal. It might be paint. I really wish all this stuff was paint instead of decals. The horse is nicely oriented. Looks good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's photo etched. It looks like it has some thickness to it. What is that? I'm focused on it. I guess those must be 2 more of those pins. Alright, yeah, so there's 4 in total holding the trunk lid down. Then the exhaust tips, they look very round yet very thin. I kind of feel like they're molded plastic because they're not very deep. Well, I may take that back. I don't know. I'm not sure if those are metal tubes inserted or if that's actually part of this grill that's molded. Anyways, the rest of the grating here is very finely molded. Here's a little reflector. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's a backup plate, or maybe those 2 are. I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a lot of things back here. These things are really shiny. I feel like those might be clear resin on top of like maybe metal. But what are they? Are they turn signals or backup lights? I feel like a race car would only need 1 backup light, so maybe that, but I don't know, all speculation. The rear diffuser is very smooth, of course, pretty thin streaks because it's plastic. Now this looks like a separate insert. In fact, all these also, see the little gap right here and gap there? So these are photo etched grills in the back of this thing. Possibly even this one as well, because I kind of see a gap there now. So actually, at first I thought this was all like just molded into the body, but no, there's at least 4, possibly 5 metal pieces representing these grills. There we have the little tow hook ring again. So very cool. Let me get the flashlight. I'm pretty sure the treads are just perfectly smooth, being a race car. Yeah, it's running slicks. There's some washers to try to offset it from the base. The tires are not compressed too much, which is nice. Although real cars do compress their tires, but maybe not a race car because they're so light. Okay, so outside wise, it looks pretty awesome. I would say it's flawless, right? Nothing major, nothing outstanding that bothers me at least. All the horses are generally vertical. Alright. Unfortunately, you can see here that emergency cutoff exclamation is crossing over the body gap of the hood, and that decal, that's not good. It's a problem with decals. So as always, the challenge is to try to see the interior of these things. But I'll put it on the table. Get this camera really close. Hit focus. Get the flashlight. I see some red in there. I don't know if that's a steering buckle. it's still not focused. What is that red thing in this opening? Oh, I think that might be a fire extinguisher down there on the passenger side floor. So a few buttons there in the middle console. I didn't even talk about this. I didn't even notice it. There's a 599XX on the backside surface of this windscreen. It's perfectly smooth here. It has a really well-defined print. Look how sharp the edges of the letters are. So that's very cool. Very impressive. You can see like the dashboard has like a texture, kind of like a real dashboard would. Although I'm sure this real car probably has like an Alcantara liner. I don't know if this is a graphic on the roll cage. It might just be a weird paint aberration, because this side doesn't seem to have it. But yeah, it's got a black roll cage of some sort. Oh, there you can see some center console buttons. They could be red or possibly orange. It's hard for me to tell. There are multiple colors in there, actually. Silver. Yeah, so that's very cool. Unfortunately, that decal blocks the view, but past the decal, look at that. See? So someone took the time to actually paint all these different colors on that center console, all the switches that are there. Very impressive. Can we get an angle of... I don't know if there's like foot pedals. It's so dark in there, it's hard to tell. The steering wheel, though, I can now see has a prancing horse on it. You can see some 2 round vents through the actual air opening. They're well defined. Instrument binnacle wise, I can't tell if there's gauges. Is there a paddle shifter beyond that steering wheel, maybe? I think it might have a paddle shifter there, right through the air opening there, that edge. Oh, yeah. You know what? The center of the steering wheel looks like it has a carbon fiber center with a prancing horse on it now. So that's cool. I still can't see instrument gauges, attack or speedometer or anything like that. It probably has an electronic dashboard being a race car, so maybe it's just in the off position. Alright. Well, it's a nice steering wheel. Okay. Let's see if there's any harnesses or anything. No. Just a black seat, it looks like. Let me change the angle here. Too low to the ground. Well, we got some openings in the headrest. You can see the crossover of the roll cage behind the seats. Sadly there's no harnesses. I feel like it would have been nice to have some decaled harnesses there. The door panel has some sort of definition to it. And yeah, that red thing must be like a fire extinguisher cylinder or something. The rear window, you can see a little of the roll cage. It seems like the rear window is painted on the inside, like it's tinted, because it's not a smooth surface on the inside surface. So it almost looks kind of blacked out. If you just, it's much darker than the windscreen up here, right? So, I'm sure that's accurate to the real car. Well, I gotta say, it's pretty nice. Nothing majorly wrong. Let's look at some other resin cars. So I didn't really even talk about when these cars came out, but luckily I took some notes on my Kyoshos. So here's the original road-going version. It came out in 2006, I guess. The real car, that is, not the Kyosho. And I gotta tell you, man, I still love Kyoshos. I mean, this thing was probably like $6 when it was new. It's die-cast. It doesn't have brakes or anything like that, but they're nice-looking models. I mean, it doesn't have mirrors and stuff. Again, it's $6. This thing is like 10 times as much. More, maybe. I still don't see turn signals in that bumper, though. So they're gotta be somewhere in the light cluster. Then Kyosho did make this car, this race car. I guess this car came out in 2009 and ran up until 2012. Maybe I should have opened Wikipedia. I'd be curious how many they made. But I guess if you look up this review, I probably spoke about that car when I reviewed that, more statistically that is. And then there's a convertible version, or drop top or something, Targa, SA Aperta, that came out in 2010. Yeah, so it's a real shame Kyosho just doesn't really care about 164. They trickle them out, but they don't make any new castings to my recollection. So, it's too bad. Alright, well, that's the diecast stuff. Alright, let's get to some resins here. Unfortunately, I don't know who made this one. A lot of these resin models are fly-by-night operations. You know, they just come and go, so they don't put their brands on here. I'm pretty sure you can still buy this though. If you just look up 164 resin SP1 or Monza, you'll find it. Maybe not in this particular blue because there seems to be only 100 of them, but there are a lot of different liveries. I like this model. Not too many parts though in it, but at least it has a seat belt. You know, I generally rag on Scale Mini because from my experience, they have the worst models in resins. But this is one exception. I mean, this model's awesome. This paint job is just really impressive. And then there's no imperfections that I could recall when I reviewed this thing. So very cool, very cool. Apparently, there's 300 of this tricolore. Focus on those. We'll let those go for a spin. Alrighty. So take that off. And then this next one is by YM Model. In general, this brand is quite good. Not too many complaints. This is the F50 GT with AB. Is that an AB Schnitzer body? I don't know what the AB represents there, but I just never really liked the F50 so much. Just kind of an ugly car, I guess, in the realm of Ferraris for me. I prefer the 458 I just took off. And the last one today, I believe this was done by MY64, and I believe you can still buy these today. This 800 because it's the most popular color. But yeah, this is a great model. I guess the only nitpick I'm now noticing is this wing was not glued tightly to the side where here it is. Or maybe yeah, it's just, there's an air gap there, you know. But it's still fantastic. I may have put a license plate on this, or several of these models. Alright, so let's let those go for a spin. Let's do a different angle as well. More human height angle. Alright. There's our Windows update. Well, this is a great one. So, big fan. I'll have to put in the title who made this. Oh, we already know it's Cars Lounge. I already forgot who made this. So Cars Lounge, I'm not sure if you're going to stick around in 5 years, but the effort you put into this model today is pretty fantastic. Particularly the 3D printed wheels is a smart decision. Every resin model company should probably maybe go to 3D printed wheels, because you don't run the risk of plastic flash. It's possible maybe even the bodies will start to be 3D printed. Right now I do feel like the resolution still might not be good enough, but it won't be long before 3D printers are cheap enough and smooth enough that you can just paint them directly and not have to sand the ridges out. That is not relevant, I guess, so much to this model, but I do appreciate having this one, and hopefully we'll see you in the next resin video. Take care now.